Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel, Canada Immigration. We hope you're doing great. In this video, we're going to talk about new Canada Express Entry draw on September 17th sent 2,500 ITAs. Canada is witnessing major policy shifts this September, from new immigration draws and reforms to economic adjustments and provincial moves for greater control. This video highlights how immigration and financial decisions are shaping the nation's future. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. So, without any further delay, let's jump into the video. On September 17, 2025, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada held its 5th Express Entry draw of the month, issuing 2,500 invitations to apply for permanent residency. This video the second draw of 2025 targeting the new education category, with a comprehensive ranking system cutoff score of 462. It is a 17-point drop from the previous education-focused draw on May 1, 2025. Below, we dive into the draw details, CRS score distribution, how the Express Entry system works, and actionable tips to boost your CRS score for future draws. Full details of Express Entry draw, September 17, 2025. This draw's lower CRS cutoff reflects a growing emphasis on education-related occupations, making it a prime opportunity for eligible candidates. Latest CRS score distribution in the Express Entry pool. The table below shows the distribution of candidates in the Express Entry pool as of September 14, 2025. Full list of eligible occupations in the education category. The education category targets specific roles critical to Canada's workforce. Here's the full list. Elementary and Secondary School Teacher Assistants, NOC 43100, TER 3. Instructors of Persons with Disabilities, NOC 42203, TER 2. Early Childhood Educators and Assistants, NOC 42202, TER 2. Elementary School and Kindergarten Teachers, NOC 41221, TER 1. Secondary School Teachers, NOC 41220, TER 1. How Express Entry works, a quick guide. Canada's Express Entry system, launched in 2015, is a streamlined pathway for skilled immigrants to gain permanent residency. Here's how it operates. Submit a profile, create an expression of interest with details of your education, work experience, language skills, and more. Receive a CRS score. Your profile is scored out of 1,200 based on factors like age, education, language proficiency, and work experience. Enter the pool. Your profile enters the Express Entry pool, ranked against other candidates. A way to draw. IRCC conducts draws approximately bi-weekly, setting a CRS cutoff. If your score meets or exceeds it, you receive an ITA. Apply for PR. Submit your full permanent residency application within 60 days. Most applications are processed within 6 months. 6 proven ways to boost your CRS score. Missed the September 17th draw? With another likely in 2 weeks, here's how to strengthen your CRS score. Improve language scores. Higher results in IELTS, CELPIP, TEF, or TCF can add up to 160 points. Retake tests to aim for CLB 9 or higher. Add work experience. Gain an extra year of skilled work, Canadian or international, for 10 to 50 additional points, depending on your age. Enhance education. A master's or PhD can add 15 to 30 points over a bachelor's. Ensure foreign credentials are assessed via an educational credential assessment. Learn French. Basic French skills earn bonus points. Fluency can add up to 50 points, especially if English is your primary language. Pursue a provincial nomination. A provincial nominee program nomination adds 600 points, virtually guaranteeing an ITA. Take charge of your Canadian immigration journey by optimizing your Express Entry profile today. With draws happening regularly and CRS cutoffs fluctuating, every point counts. Use the tips above, check your score with IRCC's CRS calculator, and stay ready for the next opportunity to secure your path to permanent residency in Canada. Bank of Canada cuts interest rates by 0.25%. The Bank of Canada has taken a decisive step by cutting its overnight interest rate by 0.25%, lowering it from 2.75% to 2.50%, the first reduction since a series of holds earlier in 2025. This move comes against a backdrop of economic weakness, mounting trade tensions with the US, and slowing growth, making it one of the most closely watched monetary policy announcements of the year. Why the cut happened? The Canadian economy has been showing signs of strain. In the second quarter of 2025, GDP contracted by 0.2%, marking a third consecutive monthly decline in June. Exports dropped sharply in anticipation of U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods, particularly in energy and manufacturing. Meanwhile, the labor market worsened, with 66,000 jobs lost in August, pushing unemployment to 6.8%, the highest level in nearly a decade outside of pandemic disruptions. Inflation trends offered the BOC space to act. The August Consumer Price Index revealed that core inflation, excluding food and energy, slowed to 0.7% annualized, down from 2.6% in July. Analysts describe this as unthreatening, giving policymakers confidence that a rate cut would not reignite price pressures. Immediate effects on Canadians. For households and businesses, this rate cut brings tangible relief. Variable rate mortgages could see monthly savings of about $100 on a $400,000 loan, while fixed mortgage rates tied to bond yields are also expected to decline. Analysts predict this could spur a 10 to 15% rebound in real estate activity by late 2025, helping first-time buyers enter the market and restoring confidence after months of stagnation. Businesses will also benefit. Lower borrowing costs mean cheaper loans for expansion, potentially boosting sectors such as auto manufacturing and agriculture, which have been hit hardest by tariffs. Consumer spending may improve as households find some relief on credit card and auto loan payments. Market and currency response. Markets responded positively to the announcement. The Toronto Stock Exchange rose 1.2% on the news, led by gains in banking and energy stocks. However, the Canadian dollar weakened slightly to 73 cents, raising concerns about higher import prices that could reintroduce some inflationary pressure. Outlook for growth. The BOC has been steadily easing policy since mid-2024, ending quantitative tightening and supporting liquidity through repo operations. According to the latest monetary policy report, Canada's GDP is forecast to grow by 1.8% in 2025 and 2026, provided U.S. tariffs do not escalate further. Economists warn, however, that even partial tariff retaliation could cut as much as 0.5% from growth. Most forecasters expect at least one more cut by December 2025, potentially lowering rates to 2.25%. Some project further reductions if trade tensions persist, though the BOC aims to balance support with caution against overstimulation. What Canadians should do. Canadians are advised to reassess their financial strategies. Homeowners with variable mortgages should track potential savings, while prospective buyers may want to secure pre-approvals before housing demand rebounds. Businesses in export-heavy industries should consider leveraging cheaper credit for diversification. Savers, meanwhile, may see weaker returns in high-interest accounts and could shift toward bonds or GICs for stability. Canada immigration reforms. Will Carney's policies really work? Canada faces a record high of nearly 3 million non-permanent residents, about 7% of the total population. This surpasses the Liberal government's 2027 target of 5% by 2 full points. The surge, driven by international students, temporary foreign workers, and asylum seekers, is placing pressure on housing, healthcare, and wages. Critics warn that without decisive action, public services could deteriorate further. Political pressure and divisions. Government stance. Prime Minister Mark Carney and Immigration Minister Lena Diab are preparing tougher reforms, though Diab has been less vocal than her predecessor Mark Miller. Opposition stance. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre calls for abolishing the temporary foreign worker program and freezing new permits. Public opinion. Recent polls show growing support, about 60%, for immigration reductions, up sharply since 2023. The challenge of meeting targets. Immigration experts emphasize that reducing the temporary population to 5% by 2027 will be extremely difficult. Mass deportations risk constitutional challenges under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, as well as humanitarian backlash. Abrupt removals would also disrupt industries like agriculture, healthcare, and technology, all reliant on immigrant labor. Instead, the government faces the delicate task of lowering numbers while maintaining fairness and protecting economic needs. The Strong Borders Act, a tougher approach. Introduced in June, the Strong Borders Act represents a cornerstone of Carney's approach. Allows the suspension, cancellation, or freezing of immigration applications in the public interest. Tightens asylum rules, particularly for those with prior Canadian residency. Expands surveillance through drones, scanners, and enhanced detention centers. Increases Canada Border Services Agency staff by 1,000 while cutting 3,300 positions at Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. Critics argue this prioritizes removal over integration and risks creating delays that discourage potential skilled migrants. Slower processing as a strategy. Observers note rising refusal rates and processing delays. Immigration lawyer Gabriela Ramo suggests this is intentional, slowing the system indirectly reduces arrivals without controversial legislation. While effective in lowering inflows, this could push skilled workers to choose other destinations and increase undocumented populations vulnerable to exploitation. Focus on economic immigration. Carney's government seeks to refine immigration toward sectors with acute labor needs. Healthcare, nurses, doctors, and elder care specialists. STEM, engineers, AI experts, biotech professionals. Skilled trades, electricians, plumbers, construction workers. Agriculture, seasonal and permanent farm laborers. Programs like Express Entry and the Provincial Nominee Program remain central tools. However, PNP allocations have been cut by half, weakening provinces' ability to attract workers for regional shortages. Experts argue revitalizing PNP is critical, as provinces best understand local economic gaps. Calls for modernization. Immigration lawyers stress the need for a digital overhaul of IRCC. Current processes involve redundant applications across multiple offices, causing inefficiencies. Suggested improvements include a centralized digital platform, AI-assisted triage of applications, clearer guidelines to reduce appeals. Without these reforms, Canada risks losing competitiveness in attracting top global talent. Public confidence and trust. Trust in the immigration system is eroding. Many Canadians now associate high immigration with rising rents and home prices, longer hospital wait times, wage stagnation in low-skill sectors. To restore faith, experts recommend transparent policies, public consultations, and less reliance on ministerial directives. If citizens see immigrants filling essential jobs and contributing fairly, support could rebound. Historical context. Canada's immigration policy has evolved over decades. 1967, point system introduced, focusing on skills over origin. 2001, Immigration and Refugee Protection Act established a modern framework. 2015 to 2022, Trudeau-era targets expanded, reaching 500,000 permanent residents annually, with temporary arrivals also soaring. Post-pandemic, immigration surged to drive recovery, but also fueled housing and service pressures. Global comparisons. Canada's shift mirrors trends abroad. UK, post-Brexit policies tighten controls. US, immigration swings with political leadership, leaving millions undocumented. Australia, maintains strict caps with selective, skills-based visas. Canada, aims to blend selectivity with compassion but risks losing its reputation as a welcoming nation. Sector impacts. Healthcare, needs foreign-trained workers, credential recognition reforms may be necessary. Tech, fast tracks for AI and clean energy experts could offset reductions. Agriculture, scrapping temporary programs could endanger food security. Trades, apprenticeship-linked visas could help fill shortages. Legal and ethical questions. Deporting long-term temporary residents raises human rights concerns. Many pay taxes, integrate into communities, and build families. Mass removals risk violating constitutional protections and damaging Canada's international reputation. Advocacy groups suggest amnesty or transition pathways for those contributing to the economy. Future outlook. Under Minister Lena Diab. Expect Diab to roll out new enforcement tools, drones, scanners, surveillance tech. More digital upgrades in processing. Expanded collaboration with provinces on targeted immigration. Her lower-profile style may precede major policy announcements aimed at balancing reductions with economic needs. Long-term vision, controlled growth. Analysts suggest that by 2030, Canada should target about 1% annual population growth through immigration. This pace allows infrastructure, housing, and healthcare to expand sustainably. With AI-powered application systems, real-time labor market matching, and investments in settlement programs, Canada could align immigration more closely with national priorities. Public opinion trends. Immigration reductions now favored by a majority. Housing crisis and healthcare pressures dominate concerns. Wage stagnation in retail and hospitality fuels discontent. The government must carefully communicate how immigration supports growth while addressing these pressures to avoid deeper political polarization. Balancing compassion and control. The central question for Carney's government: can Canada reduce temporary residents, enforce stricter borders, and still remain a nation built on immigration? Success depends on whether reforms highlight immigrants' economic contributions while easing public fears. If policies lean too heavily on enforcement and removals, Canada risks mirroring the US's undocumented population crisis. But if it modernizes processes, strengthens regional programs, and communicates transparently, it could maintain its global reputation as a fair and forward-looking destination. Canada is at a turning point. With nearly 3 million temporary residents, the Carney government faces pressure to cut numbers sharply by 2027. The Strong Borders Act, tougher enforcement, and slowed processing mark a shift to the right. Alberta Premier directs Minister to increase provincial control over immigration. Premier Danielle Smith is directing the Provincial Jobs Minister to use all legal means possible to give Alberta more control over immigration. In a new mandate letter given to Jobs, Economy, Trade and Immigration Minister Joseph Chow, Smith says Alberta needs more control over immigration to ensure the province sees sustainable levels of newcomers. Our provincial immigration levels and policies should always ensure that Canadian citizens have first access to job opportunities, and that young Canadians are not losing out on employment opportunities to temporary foreign workers, the letter says. In an emailed statement, Chow said the federal government has neglected to give consideration to the feedback the Alberta government has provided about immigration. My ministry will be looking for opportunities to use our provincial authority for immigration to bring benefit to our economy, rather than following the federal model that has not met Alberta's economic and labor needs, and brought unsustainable growth in schools, hospitals, and other critical services overseen by the province, Chow's statement said. It did not explain what legal means the government might use. His office also pointed to a Desjardins analysis, which finds an increased number of young immigrants are experiencing unemployment. The report also cites rising minimum wages, technological advances, relaxed rules for international students and cuts to public sector seasonal employment as driving rising youth unemployment. The Constitution gives the federal and provincial governments joint jurisdiction over immigration. Anna Koronikiva, an immigration lawyer at the Edmonton Community Legal Centre, said through joint provincial-federal agreements, such as the Alberta Immigrant Nominee Program, provinces can select which potential immigrants they think will best meet their labor market needs. The federal government retains the final say about whether to admit those nominees, she said. Under public pressure, the federal government last year pared back immigration targets and reduced the number of nominees the provinces can select. This year Alberta can nominate around 6,400 newcomers to become permanent residents. Koronikiva said last year, Alberta could choose nearly 10,000 people. Federal government expected to announce reductions to immigration targets Thursday. Trudeau announces reduction in temporary foreign workers, suggests more immigration changes to come. If the province wanted to increase control over immigration, the Alberta government could change its nomination criteria, such as language proficiency, the occupations included, work experience or education requirements, she said. Canada dependent on immigrants for labor. Daniel Bernhard, CEO of the Institute for Canadian Citizenship, says provincial governments are rightly miffed over losing control over the number of permanent residents they can handpick. But it is incorrect to say that factors other than meeting labor needs are driving immigration, he said. Canada needs immigrants far more than they need us, he said. To gain approval to hire temporary foreign workers, employers must prove they have previously posted jobs and been unable to fill them. Bernhard says there are now regions with high unemployment rates where new temporary foreign workers cannot come. In combination with the decision to include a Canadian citizenship marker on provincially issued driver's licenses, Bernhard said the Alberta government is sending a troubling message. They're very interested in engaging in a kind of culture war, or a heated cultural discussion, about immigration, even though it's an area that provinces don't have too much authority, he said. He says the government is also making negative insinuations about the effect immigrants have on the Canadian economy. Many immigrants work in healthcare and manual labor jobs that employers are unable to fill domestically, he said. Critics concerned about targeting of immigrants. The mandate letter comes as the Premier and her Alberta Next panel travels the province to hear from Albertans on different ways the province can wrestle power from Ottawa, including over immigration. The panel's proposal is to have Alberta create its own immigration system and cut off newcomers who aren't approved from accessing services like healthcare. The panel's framing of immigration prompted the Association of Alberta Immigrant Serving Agencies to publish a myth-busting list of information about immigration, adding that a video produced by the panel paints a misleading picture. The website says 60% of newcomers admitted to Canada are economic immigrants, and another 23% come to reunite with family. About 14% are refugees and 3% are admitted for humanitarian reasons, such as facing threats in another country. Lizette Tejada, the Alberta NDP's immigration critic, says the Smith government is stoking division and unfairly casting blame on immigrants for problems it's failing to address. If they are worried about bringing the politics and division of other places to Canada, they should start by avoiding bringing some of the political rhetoric that we're seeing from the far right in the US to Alberta, Tejada said. Together, these changes reflect Canada's evolving priorities balancing immigration needs, economic stability, and provincial autonomy. The coming months will reveal how these policies reshape opportunities for newcomers and impact the country's overall growth. That is all for today, in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later, in the next video. Till then, take care.